I'm going to see how it goes on the channel. If you like it, throw a like down below. If you don't, put some comments in the comment section, obviously. This is totally unscripted, and I'll probably say a lot of things that will get me into trouble. So here we go. So first off, there's been confusion recently about where Tesla actually taking out all of their battery production facility from Germany and moving it back to America where they could get more tax credits. But apparently now, according to this Teslarati article, that is not true. Okay, Tesla is still planning to build all their batteries in Giga Berlin. And some information on this site basically saying people familiar with the matter are saying it's definitely going to be in Germany, and they're actually employing about 2,000 jobs in Grünheide. And if you think I didn't pronounce that properly, and I probably didn't, just get in touch. Okay, so there we go. Back to being in Berlin. All right. Staying with Tesla news, we've also got some Tesla cuts estimated delivery time of Model 3 and Model Y again for the Chinese market. But of course that may affect everyone else as well. So it says here that for the third time this month, we saw that Tesla reduced the estimated delivery time for its cars in China. And blah, 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 the estimated delivery times of new orders are now Model 3 rear-wheel drive is 1 to 8 weeks, down from 6 to 10. 3 Performance is 1 to 10 weeks, down from 6 to 10 weeks. Model Y rear-wheel drive is 1 to 4 weeks, no change. And Model Y long range is 1 to 10 weeks, down from 10 to 14 weeks. Model Y Performance, 1 to 10 weeks, down from 6 to 10 weeks. Now this is probably because they have upgraded Shanghai recently, and it may also be because they've got less demand in China at the moment. Who knows, with more competition coming out there. But hopefully, this means that Australia and New Zealand will get our Model Ys and Model 3s sooner as well, because they're still going to be ramping up the production, and I really don't see them slowing down their production at all. So all those extra cars are going to go somewhere, especially considering some are not going to be going to Europe anymore now that Giga Berlin is ramping up as well. Tell us what you think. By the way, all the links to these stories, I'll put them in the notes below the video. Now, as much as this guy is a huge improvement over the previous dude in America, it said Biden did something stupid. He just, I guess maybe no one told him. Someone should have told him. He did a tweet saying, promoting electric vehicles while the picture was of a gas vehicle. So definitely not electric. Looks really nice though. Looks fantastic. But this is definitely not electric. This Corvette is actually down here. It's a 5.5 litre naturally aspirated V8 gas engine. Blah, 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 blah. Chevy has announced that it will build an all-electric Corvette, but this is not that model. This is not the all-electric Corvettes. Oops. Bit of a mistake there from a car guy. I had to include this. I'm sorry, because General Motors is about to spurt over everyone. Okay, get your hankies out. So General Motors recently laid out a plan to invest $491 million at the GM Marion stamping plant in Marion, Indiana. And this is to prepare the facility for manufacturing steel and aluminium stamped parts for future vehicles, including electric cars made at various GM assembly plants. So I guess not all electric, but some of it will go to electric. Great. So it says here that GM is once again up in the mass market production of EVs after it first launched the popular Chevy Bolt in 2016. We know how that went. Although sales responded quite well, the automaker had to recall the model in June 2021 after a series of battery issues. It doesn't say that they caught on fire. The model was reintroduced later this year. So with a second attempt of scaling up EV sales, GM is confident that it can surpass the sales of the EV king Tesla Inc. by 2025. I don't think so. In June, the company slashed the price of the 2023 model of the Bolt EV and is now the cheapest EV in the United States. Now, why would you do that if you've got so much demand? Answers on a postcard. So I've got to say, I'm not a huge GM fan. Sorry, GM, but you led the way. So, great news for anyone who is a massive fan of Peugeot. I think I know someone. Eventually try and get him into an electric car. Here you go. Here you go, Steve. Now's your chance. Okay, so great news for all those who want an electric estate car, but don't want to buy an MG5. Peugeot has announced that an all-electric E308 SW will arrive next year. The E308 is a cracking looking thing too, apparently. The E308 is this one on the right here, obviously being an estate car. But the one on the left will also be released at the same time, which is the E308 hatch. Both have a brand new electric powertrain with a 160 brake horsepower electric motor and a new 54 kilowatt hour high voltage battery. This should mean a WLTP range of 248 miles with 100 kilowatt fast charging, allowing for a 20 to 80% top up in 25 minutes. So tell me what you think. You're looking out for a Peugeot electric car anytime soon? I mean, we shall see. Moving on to another French automaker. So Renault will reveal on September the 22nd a 100% electric show car to mark the 50-year 5 Spirit. So this is basically the Renault 5 50th anniversary, and they're going to give it a concept makeover, fully electric, of the Renault 5 Turbo. And more details will be unveiled on the 22nd of September, and it will make its first physical public appearance at the Chantilly Arts and Elegance Ricard Le Mille event on the 24th and 25th of September. Chantilly. Renault claims that this will be a fun and powerful car. Volkswagen presents the all-electric ID Extreme 01 off-road concept car. So here we go, the Volkswagen ID Extreme is a fully electric concept car with all-wheel drive system, and it's based on the ID4 GTX and combines the strengths of a modern SUV with a sense of adventure embodied by a rugged off-road vehicle. This is a high-performance drive on rear axle, and software adaptations in the drive control unit will hopefully increase the power system of the concept car by 65 kilowatt to 285 kilowatt. That's a hell of a difference, actually, compared with the ID GT4 GTX02. In other words, about 30% increase in power. So, based on the feedback from the community, they will then decide whether they will proceed with the project. So if you would like a raised rally running gear, 18-inch off-road wheels, modified crash member with additional front bumper and 50mm wider wings, then get in touch with Volkswagen and say, yes, I want one of these. Make it so. So Volkswagen has followed Ford and established a new division within the brand to focus on electric vehicles and software development. The new mobility division will accelerate development of EVs and software, and Ford, as you may know, made a similar move in March when it established their Model E division for EVs and software, alongside the Ford Blue for internal combustion cars, soon to be history, and Ford Pro for commercial customers and vehicles. So VW have established a new division within the brand to focus on electric vehicles and software development. The new mobility division will accelerate their development of EVs and software. You may remember Ford did something very similar when they established the Model E division in March for EVs and software, alongside Ford Blue for internal combustion cars and Ford Pro for commercial customers and vehicles. Thomas Ulbrich, this lovely looking man, has been tasked with heading new mobility. He's currently CTO and head of EVs for VW, roles in which he oversaw the development of the ID3 and ID4 models. Let's hope he has better luck with the software side of things. So Ulbrich will oversee the development of additional VW vehicles based on the group's current MEB platform, designed for high sales volume models, as well as VW vehicles based on the upcoming SSP platform, a highly modular platform that will eventually underpin the majority of VW Group EVs. The first SSP-based model will be the much-hyped VW Fastback codename Project Trinity. Does the Matrix know about this? The vehicle is due in 2026 and tipped to be a Tesla Model 3 rival. It goes on to say something in here about car ID software division. We know how well that's going. Anyway, let's wish them lots of luck with that. Why don't they just let Tesla let them use some Tesla software. Anyway, if you want to know what the Project Trinity car is, here it is under that sheet. Basically, it's going to be a hatchback. They didn't really want to say, but we've had some leaks, and it's definitely going to be a hatchback, and it's going to be released in did say here somewhere. Okay. And if you want to know what Project Trinity is, it's basically them following Tesla's lead and trying to create a factory from startup that will actually be fully automated or mostly automated. Reduce efficiencies, reduce costs. Oh no. Beep beep. And if you want to know what Project Trinity is, it's basically following Tesla's lead in creating a factory that is highly automated, so that they can improve efficiencies and reduce costs across the automakers' plants. And the blurb here is basically they've chosen it because it's new architecture, radically new production approach, and autonomous driving and neural boost. So that's Project Trinity from Wolfsburg in Germany. This won't be coming out, this particular first car won't be coming out until 2026. And the funny thing is, it says it starts about 35,000 euros, about $37,000. It says it's like nearly the Tesla Model 3. The banging. Start over again. So if you'd like to know what Project Trinity is, it is this particular beast under wraps there. And they've called it Trinity because it has three things: driving a new architecture, radically new production approach, and autonomous driving and neural boost. They are using or building a new factory that's going to be highly automated, just like Tesla. And it's going to improve efficiencies and reduce costs. So, beep, beep. So Project Trinity is VW's attempt at copying Tesla, where they're going to create this brand new factory which is going to be highly automated, and it's being developed so that they can improve efficiencies and reduce costs across all of those future plans. This is a new platform with new production processes, self-driving technology, integrating artificial intelligence, and it's only coming in 2026. 2026. And we know what timelines are always like, don't we? And it's going to be constructed in VW's home in Wolfsburg in Germany. Now this car here, this teaser here, they didn't want to say whether it was going to be a hatchback or sedan or whatever, but leaks have come out that say it will be a hatch and feature an ID4 badge. Starting at about 35,000 euros, about 37,000 US dollars, and sit in a similar segment to the Tesla Model 3. Okay. The Project Trinity won't ride on the current platform. Obviously, it's going to be on the new platform, SSP. One interesting thing here is that it's going to be switching to an 800-volt electrical system, up from the current platform's 400-volt system, and that enables faster charging times than currently possible with the MEB platform. Now this is where it gets a bit iffy. They're saying here software including self-driving technology will also be a defining feature of the Project Trinity and future vehicles from VW Group. So they'll get over-the-air updates. Whoa, that's new. Functions on demand. Wow, never heard that before. Vehicle to everything, VTX communications, and an in-house operating system to be known as VW.OS. Very imaginative. Currently being developed by VW Group's Car ID software division. Yes. But when it comes to self-driving technology, VW has said the Project Trinity will be technically ready for level 4 on the SAE scale of self-driving capability, but won't have this capability at launch in 2026. So you may have heard that Ford is wanting its dealerships in America to decide which ones are going to sell their EVs and which ones don't. And so therefore it's basically said you either commit to getting certified as a Model E dealership, costing I think $900,000 and $1.2 million, depending on the level they want to be at, or you won't be allowed to sell any fully electric models after the end of this year. Dealerships have until October the 31st to make up their minds. For the money that the dealerships will fork out, they'll have to install charging stations, including at least one rapid charger, which must be available for the public to use. And they must agree to post prices for the vehicles on Ford's website, and they can't change those prices once they're set, because you may know that in some dealerships they've been getting, say, the Mach-E, and they've been raising the price by $20,000. So Ford are trying to stop that. Dealers must also agree to provide a Tesla-like experience in which customers can order a car online and have it delivered to their door. One thing you may or may not know is that Ford have always had the Model E as one of their copyright names, and it blocked Tesla from using their name when they were coming up with the name for the Model 3. They actually wanted to call it Model E because then it would be literally S-E-X-Y, sexy. But they had to go for Model 3 instead. So it looks like the Ford Mustang Mach-E is another step closer to coming to Australia. The 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E electric SUV is undergoing some final checks before being confirmed for Australia, say well-placed dealer sources. It's already sold in other right-hand drive countries such as the UK and New Zealand. And their engineering guru, Li Wei Ho, has said that their role in product development is to do their due diligence, say that 20 times, and make sure it's not just paperwork. So they want to make sure that they're meeting all of the local regulation requirements, and we're making sure the vehicle itself functions the way that we want it to function when it's out on Australian roads. For instance, the navigation system right now in current production, it only has North American maps and European maps depending on where the car goes. Tell me, New Zealand, do you get maps? Are they UK or North American maps? Other senior Ford executives repeatedly told international media who attended the Detroit show that it was a global model. So expect this on our shores at some stage soon-ish. In some good news, BMW might axe the X4 and replace it with an all-electric iX4. The X4 SUV is a fastback version of upright X3, which has been around since 2015, with a second gen being introduced in 2019. But Munich bosses didn't predict enough future sales to give the green light to a third generation combustion powered X4. So therefore, goodbye ICE X4 and hello iX4, expected to arrive sometime in 2026. Unfortunately, BMW is still planning on releasing other combustion and electric based cars concurrently. Oh well. So this story here is about Chinese automakers expanding quite substantially into other markets. MG Motors sold no less than 40,000 EVs in Europe last year, and the likes of NIO, XPeng and BYD are also launching cars across the continent in smaller numbers. Various other automakers will significantly increase their international presence over the coming years. In 2019, China said that 25% of its passenger vehicles by 2025 will consist of new energy vehicles, and it's likely that that will be achieved this year. Great news. So the University of New South Wales have said they've developed a brand new electric motor which is much lighter, smaller, and can actually increase the driving range of electric cars by up to 10%. It's also cheaper to make, could be commercialized in less than a year, and it's got a high spinning speed of 100,000 revolutions a minute, even though it's got greater internal strength and smaller external size. I'm not a scientist. How does this work? So it promises to use less of the rare earth minerals needed to produce it. It could also be used for compressors and heating and cooling systems, high precision industrial milling machines, and generators used in aircraft. So they've already got 2 fully developed and tested prototypes of the 5 kilowatt motor, and they're looking to move towards production. If an electric vehicle manufacturer like Tesla wanted to use this motor, then I believe it would only take around 6 to 12 months to modify it based on their specifications, said Dr. Gyoyu Ju. Research by the team points to a 50% reduction in manufacturing costs based on materials costs, and also because the new motor does not need the internal strengthening of existing designs. And it will take approximately 6 months to 1.5 years of additional research and development to be ready for production in other application fields. So that sounds really, really interesting, and if Tesla wanted to take this on board, they could have it in their cars within a year, because it will only take another 6 months for it to be developed for them. Now, this is a reasonably long article, one very, 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 very close to my heart, because I totally agree, and this is from a former Prius owner. You know, Prius was great for the time, but no more. Goodbye. Get rid of it. So the Swiss canton of Valais is to stop providing subsidies to people who buy hybrid vehicles after a rigorous study it commissioned from a specialized environmental consulting company concluded that their fuel consumption and emissions make them as harmful as diesel vehicles. So hybrid vehicle manufacturers' consumption metrics are based on the WLTP. They usually promise fuel consumption between 1 and 2 litres per 100 kilometres. They are actually the product of ideal conditions employing expert drivers. So everybody you know, unless they're in ideal conditions and they're an expert driver, will never ever get close to 1 to 2 litres per 100 kilometres. They found out that these cars actually consume about 4 times more in normal driving. So that's between 4 and 7 litres per 100 kilometres. In large hybrid vehicles, that can be up to 10 litres per 100 kilometres. In the end, leaving aside the questionable good intentions of hybrid vehicle makers, charging a battery while driving with an internal combustion engine means lower performance, because obviously it's sending energy towards the battery instead of to the wheels. So it says down here that we know that all car manufacturers lie about their vehicles' consumption and capacities, including EVs, but the implications of these lies are very different. If an electric vehicle that claims to have a range of 510 kilometers in ideal conditions ends up in practice with a little below 350, it means more stops to recharge, especially if it's being driven in traffic. But if a hybrid vehicle with a ridiculous electric range of 40 or 50 kilometers offers in practice less than 20 kilometers, its owner is actually driving with a combustion engine most of the time and simply hauling useless batteries around. I feel so bad with my Prius that I used to have. Hybrid vehicles are an attempt to continue exploiting the internal combustion technology car makers are comfortable with, hello Toyota, while at the same time manipulating the fears many consumers have about EVs, also hello Toyota. Fears that moreover have been fed for years, Toyota, by the manufacturers themselves and by dealer networks who know that EVs mean the end of their business model. The European Union's new Euro 7 regulations are being designed so as they can ban any engine that exceeds carbon dioxide emissions of 30 grams per kilometre, which in practice means ending the manufacture of internal combustion engines from 2025. Some brands have finally grasped this and stop developing cleaner combustion engines. For many people buying a car today, this will mean that their internal combustion engine vehicle, hybrid or not, will be obsolete in less than 3 years. I have another video about ICE being obsolete. Check it out. Hybrids are a sham concocted by an antiquated industry to deceive the market and regulators, and one backed up by governments that subsidize something that should never have qualified for any kind of support. Consumers buy them because they seem to address their concerns for the environment. In short, hybrids are the last poisonous gasp of an obsolete and profoundly harmful technology. And finally, a little bit of fun to end up on. Call of Duty is getting its first electric car. Woo! I don't know if that's ridiculous. I don't agree with that. But anyway. Thanks to a partnership between GMC and Activision, the electric Hummer SUV will make an appearance in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Warzone 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 will be out on October the 28th. GMC electrified the Hummer in 2020, offering it in pickup trick, back to spurt, and SUV flavors, based on the in-house Ultium drive platform and Ultium batteries, with a 1,000 horsepower yield and impressive off-roading claims.